That's it for us today. Thanks for watching The Factor. Please listen to the Radio Factor. Hannity and Colmes is next. Was the handcuffed 5-year-old girl a victim of racism? Boys will explore that. I'm Bill O'Reilly. We do hope to see you again next time. Remember, The Spin stops right here, because we're looking out for you.
And this is a Fox News alert. Authorities in Georgia found the bodies of missing toddlers, Jonah and Nicole Payne. Now, they were discovered this afternoon in an algae-covered pond near their home. The two children, 3 and 2 years old, have been missing since Saturday evening. Police are continuing their investigation into this case. We're going to give you a live update coming up a little bit later this hour. And also coming up tonight, take a listen to this 911 call.
Oh, my God, you guys, please help me. Please help me. Oh, my God, please help me.
The police thought that was a hoax. Now the boy that you heard on that phone, well, he's dead. We'll tell you what happened. And then a follow-up to a segment we did on Friday about this video. Many of you responded. Will the African-American community stand up against this video called Ghetto Fights? The Reverend Al Sharpton will be here to respond. Plus, can you imagine a scenario in which child molesters like John Evander Cooey could be let out of prison? Believe it or not, one state is actually considering it, and tonight you'll meet the man behind this controversial move. And also shocking new developments in the case of the handcuffed 5-year-old girl in Florida. Was she the victim of racism? Well, that's what some people are now saying. We'll also tonight tell you about that and take a look at this video. What should be the punishment for the girl seen beating one of her classmates? What she actually got will surprise you. But first, our top story tonight, the battle over judicial nominations. It's turned into a holy war between Republicans and Democrats. Take a look at what Senate Majority Leader Bill Frist said at Justice Sunday. The event that took place yesterday has Democrats hopping mad.
I don't think it's radical to ask senators to vote. I don't think it's radical to expect senators to fulfill their constitutional responsibilities. I don't think it's radical to restore precedents that worked so well for 214 years.
Is this really about religion? Joining us now, the author of Real Homeland Security, The American God Will Bless, and also President of Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission of the Southern Baptist Convention, Dr. Richard Land. And from the National Council of Churches, former Congressman Bob Edgar. Bob, I want you to explain. First of all, this is the first time in the history of the United States Senate that this has ever happened to a judicial nominee filibuster that would have passed with a majority. I want you to look into our camera here. I want you to explain to our audience this. One of the people being filibustered by the Democrats is the daughter of Alabama sharecroppers who grew up in the segregated South in the midst of Jim Crow, and a single mother who worked her way through college and law school. Justice Janice Brown, she's a Supreme Court justice on the California Supreme Court. Explain why she shouldn't have a fair up or down vote in the United States Senate. Explain why you would not support her right for that.
She should have an up or down vote in the United States Senate. More than 200 of the president's judge candidates have already received that vote. But the filibuster has been used, particularly in more recent years, to make particular judgments on those candidates that seem to at least a portion of the Senate not to be qualified. And in this case, this person has to be reviewed, and many senators, both Democrats and Republicans, have indicated that she doesn't meet the standard. But I don't want to speak to that. I want to speak to the fact that Senator Frist...
I didn't ask you about that. I didn't ask you about that.
Senator Frist...
This is the first time in American history...
No, it isn't the first time.
Yes, it is. Let me correct the record. That it's ever been used against a judicial nominee that it would have otherwise passed. It has never happened before.
Senator Frist voted for filibuster back in the Clinton years. You're making...
not for a judicial nominee, which is specifically addressed in the Constitution of the United States, sir.
No, it was a judicial nominee.
It wasn't.
Senator Frist...
Didn't happen before.
Yes, it did. In the Clinton administration, the conservatives used the filibuster to block what they considered were liberal judges. And I think the issue is not a particular...
You can't name a single judge because it didn't happen.
It did happen. The votes took...
What was the judge's name?
For the filibuster. The vote took place, but the filibuster did not succeed.
Let me bring in Richard. Richard, here's the point. Pat Leahy, Chuck Schumer, Robert Byrd, Harry Reid, all were on the opposite side of this issue, in most cases just 4 or 5 short years ago. Why haven't the Republicans explained that to the American people and how this has never happened in history before?
Well, I can't answer why the Republicans haven't made more of a case about the flip-flopping of Schumer and Kennedy and Leahy, who strongly opposed any filibuster tactics in the 1990s. The fact is that in the entire history of our republic, there's never been a filibuster used against an appeals court nominee. And, you know, they talk about how they've confirmed so many of the president's judges. They have not confirmed the appeals court nominees. They have blocked 10. They've filibustered and refused to allow a vote on 10 of his 52 appeals court nominees. That's nearly 20%. And in the first 200-plus years of our republic, there was never a filibuster against an appeals court.
Hey, Dr. Land,
this is an outrageous use of minority power in the Senate to block the will of the American people.
Dr. Land, it's Alan Colmes. Thank you for coming on the show. First of all, the judge to which the Reverend was referring is Paez, and just Paez. Frist voted to do a filibuster for Judge Paez, Richard Paez.
Not an appeals court nominee.
And
no,
he was as I understand, an appeals court nominee, and also had the longest delay in history. Just as these people are complaining about the long delays, Paez had a 4-year delay. Marcia Berzon had a 2-year delay. So isn't it disingenuous for Bill Frist to decry the delays and blame the Democrats for it when the same thing happened with Paez and Berzon? The same exact thing, and he voted to filibuster.
It hasn't been the same thing, and it's no more disingenuous than Schumer and Leahy and Kennedy going on the floor and attacking the use of filibusters and delaying tactics, and now saying that it's somehow a threat to the Constitution to try to stop filibusters on appeals court nominees. This has never been done to the extent it's been done.
Well, it's not true. That's absolutely untrue. Reverend Rager, this is untrue. The fact is there is a parallel here. There's an exact parallel here. And there's the exact number of judges which were confirmed in the Clinton administration, which has taken place here on the appeals level.
20%.
Richard doesn't know what he's talking about, because if the liberals were in charge in the House and Senate and in the White House, you'd be on the opposite side of this issue. The filibuster has, in fact, been a helpful. It's been a helpful process. And I think it's important to recognize that over this past weekend, Senator Frist went a step too far. He endorsed a process by a whole group of religious leaders who said anybody who disagrees with changing the filibuster is anti-American and anti-Christian, and that's just
I also want to point out, Dr. Land, Bush nominated 52 appellate court nominees in his first term.
That's a libelous charge, and it's not true, Bob. And you know it's not true.
Yeah, I do want to respond to it. We've been trying to get a meeting with Senator Frist since last week, and Rabbi David Saperstein of Reform Judaism, the leader of the Lutheran Church, the Presbyterian Church, and even the historic black church, the AME Church, came together on Friday and begged Mr. Frist to not participate in that very narrow dividing of the church. We want the church and the religious community to recognize that the Constitution respects all religious traditions and not just a small segment. And what took place in Kentucky was an outrage. We think that Democrats and Republicans ought to be able to speak in church, but not use the church to divide.
All right, guys, we're going to have to let it go.
I'd like to respond to that, Bob. Bob, they never said that they were not American or not Christian. Tony Perkins started off I've seen the broadcast. He started it off by saying, we are not saying that people who disagree with us are not people of faith. Right, we haven't said that, and we never will.
Gotta run,
Richard. Just libeled a Christian brother, and you should apologize.
Thank you.
Glad they backed
Coming
off.
up next, police thought a chilling 911 call was a prank. Now this 19-year-old boy, sadly, is dead. We'll tell you the shocking story. Also, should African-American leaders take a stand against this video? We'll check in with the Reverend Al Sharpton. Then, would you let this sex offender out of prison? You won't believe what one state is considering. We'll tell you about that. Plus, was this little girl the victim of racism? New developments in the case of the handcuffed 5-year-old. And you'll meet the victim of this school bus beating. She'll tell us about the slap on the wrist that her assailant got. A very busy night. Please stay with us.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Lori Dew. The hunt for weapons of mass destruction in Iraq has gone, quote, as far and feasible, and nothing has been found. That is according to the CIA's top weapons inspector there. Charles Dulfer issued his final report today, adding to the roughly 1,000-page report released last fall. Dulfer is ending his investigation after 18 months of searching.